welcome back to the Inspiration Station where stories spark action. I'm your host, Mr. U. Wherever you are and however you're watching this show, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on YouTube and Facebook as we speak. And of course, you can find all of our shows across all social media and podcast listening platforms. Thanks again for watching. All right, so our guest today is an executive coach, an entrepreneurship leader, founder of My Authentic Story, and the author of the new book, Making Sense of Purpose. Suneet Bhatt is with us. Suneet, good to see you today. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, bud. I appreciate you.
Oh, no, pleasure's mine. Pleasure's mine. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So you talk a lot about kind of making sense of yourself before you try to find purpose. Break that down. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think the analogy I give and the way I talk about it is right now, look, there's an amazing amount of content, courses, authors, frameworks on purpose. And the challenge is they all start with the assumption that you're showing up to that framework or that work with a clear, healthy perspective and understanding of who you are, right? And so, but the truth is we know based on Tasha Eurich's research and others that only 10 to 15% of us are truly self-aware. And so right now when everybody shows up to that work, I equate it to people showing up to a grocery store hungry and without a list. And so when you go groceries, right? When you go grocery shopping hungry, you're not going to make smart decisions. Absolutely. You're going to make impulsive decisions. You're going to make rash decisions. You're not going to make healthy, sustainable decisions. You're just going to gravitate to the things that fill you up and satiate you immediately. And that's what we do with all these purpose and meaning and happiness frameworks is we show up hungry. So we just grab on to the first thing that fills us and it feels good in the moment. It doesn't sustain us over time. And so my own experience, my experience coaching, leading teams, my last team was 1,100 people, right? And people from around the world, but the thing was the same is if I wanted them to make the best decisions, I had to help them understand what the best decision was for them first. And so the premise of the book is before you can make sense of your purpose, you have to make sense of yourself.
I like it. I love this. I guess this is an exchange you had with somebody who's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Almost 70 years old. I find that astounding because we do a lot. We do a lot of purpose on our shows across the brand. Matter of fact, it's important to me from a personal and spiritual standpoint. But you have somebody who is an entrepreneur, what you define as have a great life, 67 years old, and they asked you a question that changed everything. What was that question?
So I'll double down on that. I mean, look, 67-year-old, the truth of this person is exited 2 businesses. So financially, just a boss, great relationship with his wife. So that's what you want, an amazing relationship, a mentor, role model, and admired by his children. Outstanding. And a pillar in his community, right? Had built and created spaces for the community to congregate. So successful on every level and through every lens. It doesn't matter what matters to you. Like he was successful there. And we get on the phone and the first thing he says to me is, Suneet, I don't know why I'm here. And, for me, if you don't know why you're here, then none of us do. And that was a moment of realization where I was like, it's this guy can have this question after all of this work. Does anybody stand a chance, right? At feeling like they have purpose and meaning. And so that set something, just lit something up in me about how do we make purpose more accessible and realistic for anyone, not just the accomplished, but anyone.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff, man. What I've been discovering on my journey many times around the sun, believe it or not, I feel as though that people take what they do or what they do well as purpose. I kind of feel like that's a bit of a mistake because for me, what I've found out for myself personally, this is just me speaking now, purpose usually is something that causes us to be outside of our comfort zone.
Yep.
And elevate to a higher level in our understanding, in our consciousness, in our goodwill toward others. It breaks us out of the space that we want to be in, that keep us comfortable and keep us kind of grounded and rooted in certain areas. So
Amen.
when we talk about purposes, when we talk about purpose in general, well, what do you think is the real difference between the purpose that people chase and the one that we actually find ourselves at some point in time?
Yeah. I don't, you know, I've never been asked this question this way before. So I appreciate it. And so I'm going to riff here, but I actually don't mind if people chase or find purpose. The question is, what is the self awareness you have before you do that? And so I think if you chase purpose or go to find it before you have really taken the steps to understand what makes you and matters to you, then it's a fool's journey. It's a fool's errand
Yeah.
because you're chasing something outside of yourself that is disconnected from yourself. And as a result of that, that's unsustainable. What makes purpose sustainable is it starts as a reflection, not a prediction. And that is the thing that most people get wrong. They instantly jump to what's next. They instantly say, I'm not satisfied. There's got to be something out there that I can find, as opposed to, there's got to be something inside of me and something in my experiences and in my journey to date that I can learn from and connect with, that I can then use to identify what bridge I want to build going forward. And so I think it's not the chase that's the problem. It's the self-awareness and where you are before you decide on the journey to purpose or happiness or meaning or fulfillment that you take. And the key thing is it starts as a reflection, not a prediction.
Yeah. I'm definitely somebody that doesn't ascribe to following formulas that people have in their life. We have people come on our show, all of our shows, as a matter of fact, and they throw these ideas out, concepts, things that they've experienced, things that they've tried that worked. And I hesitate every time, 100%, to try to tread those into formulas because that one size fits all usually doesn't fit all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
We have an abundance of perfect books out there, Suneet, all over the place. They give us these nice answers for things. But for you, what do you give people instead? Because I feel as though if purpose doesn't continue to give us room to grow,
Yeah.
to change, to understand deeper, then I question if it's really purpose for us. So what do you give instead of those books that give those tidy answers, man?
Yeah, look, you hit it. We are the most complex beings to ever walk the planet. And as a result of that complexity, there are no tidy answers and there are no perfect answers because I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. I learned something, I experienced something yesterday that makes me different today. And so I'm changing and evolving every moment, as should everything about me. And so I think what I am focused on giving people is the first thing I say is space and grace, right? I think I got to give people the space to, and people don't do this work because they don't have the space and grace to do it. So space means like time, like they actually carve out time to do this work undistracted, to do this work. Grace means the opportunity to stumble, trip, fall, and work their way through it without judgment. My entire book is about awareness and not judgment. And the last thing is structure. And I say very clearly that I am not a guru. I'm not a guy with the
Thank goodness.
answers. I am a guy who made a bunch of mistakes and luckily had a wife who gave me space and grace to figure this out. And then I had the space and grace to document it and capture it in a way that makes the journey about you. My book is not by Suneet Bhatt. It's from me. It's my gift. It's my offering to people. And the premise of the book is named after my father who passed away 8 years ago. It's Kieran. And kids, gain clarity, build momentum, and find your Kieran. Kieran means ray of light. But what that means is, look, I am at best what I am in the book and what the book is to you is a friend walking alongside you on your journey with a flashlight out, shining on the path so that you don't have to worry about holding that flashlight and making sense of it. You can just experience the journey. And that's like the critical theme of the book. And the other thing we give people is we make sure that you don't get a single perspective on yourself and assume that that's everything. So in my class on purpose, which at Rutgers, which now leads to the book, there are 15 classes. There are 18 chapters in this book. We don't really talk about purpose until chapter 18 or class 15. What we do is we help you understand yourself. So each chapter is a lens into who you are. Why are you here? What makes you happy? What are your strengths? What gives you energy? What are your dreams? What makes you aspire? What are your values? What makes you at your core? What are your motivations? What are your behaviors? And so we give you research, we give you data, we give you prompts, we give you exercises. So you do all that work. And by the time you get to like chapter 10, 11, 12, you have seen and investigated yourself 10 different ways. And what you can do then is step back and look for the through lines and say, you know what? No matter what way I look at myself, these things keep showing up. And now I feel a lot clearer about who I am, a lot more confident about who I am and who I'm not. So that when I jump into a journey on happiness, fulfillment, meaning, purpose, I'm going to do that with a clearer sense of myself. And so your question was, what do you give or do differently than these other people do? I see this book and this work as the precursor to any book you want to tackle next. You want to do Arthur Brooks, you want to do Design Your Life, you want to do whatever you want to do, Manson and Solved, whatever you want to do. I just want you to show up to that work with a clear, confident understanding of who you are, healthy understanding of who you are, so you do the best work for yourself. And that's what we're trying to do with this work.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We got time for one or two more questions. If you guys are watching this for the very first time, great time to jump in and drop your questions in the chat, in the comments section for our guest today, speaking to coaching, entrepreneurship, and finding purpose. He's ready to answer those questions, so drop those in the comments section wherever you're finding the episode. Maybe one or two more questions for you, Suneet.
Yeah.
You highlighted this, this is not hearsay. You said you spent more than a couple of decades walking in success and kind of just walking away from that. What would you say is a primary central light bulb moment or central point that you want to give to the listeners who may be in the same space that you were in? What do you want to let them know not to do?
Yeah, I think, I would do work, and at some point, something inside me would say, this isn't working anymore. Like, you're doing good work, but the work didn't feel good. And so at some point I would say, okay, I don't like this job anymore. I'm going to go look for another job. That was my assumption, was that it was the job. But what turned out to be was that it wasn't the job that I didn't like. It just was the work. I didn't love the work. It didn't matter what job I was going to get. At some point, I was going to grow dissatisfied with it. And it was my wife who said, hey, man, since I've known you, you've gone from working 4 years to working 3 years to 2 years to 12 months to within 3 months being frustrated at a job. The problem is your approach, not the job. You got to figure out what lights you up. And so I always thought the answer was outside of myself in a new job, and it never was. The thing I should have done was really taken stock of myself. And I think I would have stopped that pattern a lot sooner and joined different organizations a lot sooner. And so the advice is just get to the truth of why you left that moment and why that moment isn't working for you. And the truth requires reflection, requires an honest reflection, but not from one lens. Like, excavate and investigate the circumstances from a variety of perspectives. Like, look back on the job. Did anything about it make you happy? Anything about give you energy? Anything about give you confidence? Did anything about it connect to your long-term aspirations? Did anything about it help with your motivations? Does anything about it reflect the behaviors that you want to exhibit as a human being? Like, look at it a bunch of different ways and then give yourself the space and grace to like make sense of it. If you do that work, it is amazing. Some people are so unhappy with work. We'll have a 60-minute conversation, bud, and they will go back to that job fired up and ready. There's a story in my book of this person who did that Sunday night conversation. A friend said to my buddy, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Started the conversation, dreading going back to work, not wanting it, left the conversation, realizing that this job enabled everything else that he wanted for him and his young family. And that's also possible. But if you don't take the time to like understand what makes you and matters to you, you're not going to feel connected to even the best things available to you.
For those that are watching, well, for those that are listening and not watching us, I have the link to Suneet's new book that you can pre-order, I believe, scheduled for release around August 25th.
Yep.
Which is my wedding anniversary, which is pretty cool.
Hey,
all right.
Happy anniversary, bud.
Thank you, sir. MakingSenseOfPurpose.com. You can pre-order the links right here on the screen. It's also going to be in the comment section as well as in the show notes. So for you guys that are listening but not watching us yet, you can grab that right there. Executive coach, entrepreneurship leader, founder of My Authentic Story, and the author of the new book, which we just dropped the link in the comment section there, Making Sense of Purpose. Suneet Bhatt, thanks for being a part of the conversation, man, for sharing your very inspirational story, man. Thanks for doing this.
Man, thank you for the space. I appreciate it. I love the energy. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Pleasure's mine. Feelings mutual, brother. If you're watching for the first time, thanks for making us part of your week. This is the Inspiration Station where stories spark action. That's Suneet. I'm Mr. You. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching and listening. We're out.